welcome into the Midstate 48 presented by Miracle Auto Group. We're getting into week 10 of Middle Tennessee High School football. Chris Brooks here with you, and I'm bringing the rest of the crew. And if you had been with us about 30 seconds ago, you would have seen some pets on the screen, but now it's just these guys.
They probably look better than we do.
You're not my pets. I mean, come on. What are we talking about here? Good evening, guys. Another Wednesday night, and we're getting ready for some big games this week.
Yeah. Wow.
Thank God fall break's over.
The 2-week lull is over.
Yeah, but we're at week 10, guys.
You didn't have to mention that, Scott.
We're at week 10.
Yeah, it's.
It seems
7 weeks to gold balls.
Yeah, I mean, it really has flown by, and fall just now got here.
Yeah,
it's gonna feel good on Friday.
Just in time too, and hopefully that the rain stays way out of the forecast too, because nobody needs that. At least not on Friday.
So. Yeah, I don't know if it's just the list of games this week or just the difference from going from 26 games last week back to our normal 50-plus games in our area. But, man, there were some tough games to pick this week.
Oh, yeah. Yep. Yeah, Who You Got's going to be a fun segment. And then the apologies next week are going to be a fun segment as well. But
I don't plan on giving out any.
Yeah.
We say that, and then, 9:30 Friday night, you find out you're going to be making one to somebody you didn't expect.
9:30, you guys are usually texting me, "Oh, Scott, guess what? Better prepare to do some kissing."
Yeah, Scott's most times. Scott, Joe's getting ready to go into overtime, and Scott is halftime of his game most of the time. So,
Right.
Yeah, let's talk about that for a second, Joe. And you and I were over at Mount Juliet with that classic against Lebanon, and you've told me that every time you cover a game at Mount Juliet, something weird happens, and well, lo and behold, it did.
I think it's every time I cover Mount Juliet, because I covered their game against Station Camp a couple of years ago, and that was a wild game. And then I covered the White County game last year. That was a wild game. I think I covered another game there that got wild.
Covered Cane Ridge start of the year.
Yeah, but I think I did another one there last year. I just can't remember which one. But yeah, it's weird. I've never covered a normal game there, and the last Friday was the wildest, I think. That was just kind of crazy.
So are we signing you up for next week for Green Hill?
No. As much as I would love to go to that game, previewing my apology later, I think there's going to be another game I go to over that. So
fair enough.
Yeah, and that's not that does not mean that you're off the list, Green Hill and Mount Juliet. You definitely could still wind up having one of us there.
Yeah, just there's way too much that's got to be settled this week before we make any of those decisions.
I mean, yeah, absolutely. This week, I mean, it could change a lot of things. This week, it really is. These last 2 weeks, I mean, if TWSAA did something right, it was the way they loaded these schedules up towards the back end.
Well, since we're here, let's talk about some of those, because the way that these regions are shaking down, there are some things that need to be taken care of this week. And let's I want to bring up the old playoff picture, because we're going to go ahead and start diving into this head first. We'll start in 1A. We've got Region 4 with Gordonsville, Ripple, and Joe Burns. They're all going to make the playoffs. Nothing there of consequence this week, as those teams are all going to play next week for their final seeding. But as the pairings look right now, what sticks out to you about what we could see come November 3rd?
South Pitt and Gordonsville eventually playing each other would be kind of wild, because they played each other the last couple of years, and
it's been an ongoing
longer
thing.
than that.
Yeah.
I think it's 7 in a row that they've played each other in the playoffs.
But this South Pitt team, guys, I know they're not in our coverage area, but man, they're good. I think they kind of steamroll through this, to be honest. No disrespect to the other teams, but man, they're on a mission.
Yeah, I mean, I think that the possibility of, and we saw it last year, the possibility of a Clay County or Gordonsville going to South Pitt in round 2 will be one of the better second round matchups, especially for the smaller classifications.
I got to pause for a second because I saw a comment from Matt Loxton and I need to put this on the screen because Joe, you need to see this. You're not allowed at beach anymore. Sorry.
I'm gonna miss out on the wings, man. And to be fair, they've lost both times I've gone there, so I get it. I'm sorry. But that also means Scott shouldn't be allowed. I'm just saying.
Hey,
Hey,
I'm throwing you under the bus. I threw you under the bus.
When I went to beach last year in the playoffs, they won. So maybe I need to go to beach.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I think Matt would be okay with that, and I'm sure the beach faithful would be okay with that as well if that was the case.
They see me, they immediately ban me from the gates.
Yeah, we'll go.
He'll never.
We'll go quickly through regions 5 and 6 and 1A. Yeah. Eagleville's the only team in our area in these two regions, and they're not in the top 4 currently. They're still in contention to get there, but they've got a lot of work to do.
Yeah, outside of our area, but Moore County is the team to watch in the West in 1A to make a run to Chattanooga.
Yeah, that McKenzie team, they lost quite a bit. They returned a few really good pieces, but Dawson White at Moore County, my pick for Mr. Football right now. The kid does everything. He's really, really good. So give me Moore County there.
On to 2A and Region 3, Smith County and East Robertson. Yeah, pretty well 1 and 2 for those two. Trousdale County, Monterey. Westmoreland and Jackson County still in play there, but it really boils down to that Trousdale County Westmoreland game next week, Cam.
Yeah, and honestly, both of those depend on Matt and the results of this week as well. Because what would happen is there would be a 3-way tiebreaker if Westmoreland was to beat Trousdale County next week, and of course that goes to overall record, which is very important for both of those teams this week in their matchups: Trousdale County against Clay County, Westmoreland against Portland. So that's why those are important this week. And looking at the pairings, I mean, if I'm a Trousdale County fan, which I guess, as Joe would say, I am.
Homer.
This matchup against Cascade, you avoid Fayetteville. That's a huge advantage, for Trousdale County. That's a game that I think is winnable for the Yellow Jackets. And if you win that game, I mean, yeah, you probably have to go to the hole and go to Smith County, but that's a game that Trousdale County wants back. 4 turnovers in the second quarter in that game a few weeks ago. And that game was closer than the score indicated. Smith County scored on the last play of the game to make it 27-7. This is a favorable matchup for Trousdale County if that was to happen. Second round matchup, East Robertson versus Marion County. Wow.
Yeah. Whoever gets Fayetteville, I mean, that's not going to be an easy game. I mean, that Fayetteville team is good. They played a brutal schedule, but they're good. I mean, it's still a team that has a ton of talent. Good luck to whoever from Region 3 gets them, because that's going to be a battle in the first round.
Yeah, probably the best 2A quarterback there at Fayetteville and Sam Willoughby, I would say.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not used to seeing Fayetteville at this,
It's weird.
It's really weird seeing them in the 4 slot. It's very strange. And, yeah, you're right, Cam. You're not doing Smith County any favors playing a Fayetteville team while Trousdale gets Cascade.
Well, the good news for Fayetteville,
and now
Cascade forced to play too.
Yeah,
you got it, Chris. I was going to say the good news is their only loss is to Marion County, a 21-14 game, so they definitely could play their way into that 2 spot.
Yeah, I think they will.
Yeah.
Flip the page and go to 3A, and we'll start with regions 3 and 4. Watertown, the only team of consequence for our coverage area there. Third place right now in region 4. They have not clinched a playoff spot yet. They've got a little bit of work to do that. But right now they're sitting third and sitting in a decent spot.
Yeah, I think that's where they'll end up. Long road trip to McMahon Central if that holds. But I mean, you look at these playoff matchups. Meigs County and Giles County both undefeated and both kind of, in my opinion, being overlooked there in 3A on the east side. So.
Watertown's last region game was against Community, and Community has given up more than 450 points this year. So, that bodes well for them to hold on to the number 3 seed. Over in regions 5 and 6, we start getting a little bit more into our teams, and you look at region 5, East Nashville currently in the driver's seat. They've got a region game with Stratford left to go in week number 11. Liberty Creek sitting there second, and it seems like that's kind of where they're going to finish.
Yeah. Well, I'll just point this out. We had a lot of Stratford folks comment on the ranking, saying that we're overlooking them. I wanted to see what Stratford does against East Nashville. They have not beaten a team with a winning record this year. Their 3 losses have come to teams with winning records in blowout fashion. If Stratford can come out, compete against East Nashville, it give me a little more hope. I know they have a great quarterback in Justice Law, but right now, I mean, East Nashville, Liberty Creek are kind of running that. Liberty Creek really peaking, actually. I mean, since that East Nashville team, they've looked like a completely different team. So I wouldn't want to play them in the postseason, no matter who it is. Even if you're East Nashville, you get that rematch. Do you really want to play them?
Yeah, very dynamic quarterback there for Liberty Creek in Brian Rager. Been able to do a lot of good things there for the Wolves. One thing that I will say, though, if Stratford is able to pull that upset against East Nashville, if Liberty Creek's able to win their next 2 games and East Nashville loses in Week 11, that could throw some wrenches in there as far as tiebreakers go between the 3 teams. So could definitely get interesting in this region, but I don't expect it.
It could, but the only thing with East Nashville is they play Republic this week. You're looking at a 7th win for them, and then neither team could catch them in overall wins, which would give them the region title.
Yeah, and Liberty Creek already has the tiebreaker over Stratford, so head to head. So Liberty Creek in a very good spot to host their first playoff game.
Yeah, and somebody's getting in with 1 win, and we all hate that kind of situation in these playoff rankings. But Republic or Maplewood, whoever wins next week is getting in with 1. Maplewood's case possibly 2 wins, but look likely 1. So it's unfortunate circumstance having a 5 region.
Region 6-3A. I mean, White House Heritage and Fairview. I mean, they play next week.
Yep.
I mean, that's clinches the top. I mean, does it get any more exciting than that?
Yeah,
it clinches the top if Fairview beats Sycamore Friday night.
True.
Yep. Yeah, and that would be next Thursday that those 2 teams would tangle over in Fairview. Cheatham County and Stewart County will play each other for a playoff spot as well.
Yeah, that's going on this week, right?
I believe it is.
Yeah. So we'll one of them will go a long way to solidifying their playoff spot.
Yeah,
and somebody will have an asterisk beside their name next week.
Yeah.
We look at the pairings, guys, and we talked about that Liberty Creek team. As good as they are offensively, if those pairings are what we get, I kind of like the Wolves' chances to make a quarterfinal game.
Yeah, for sure. Fairview East Nashville would be an interesting second round game, and then even Stratford possibly. At Fairview Stratford game of the first time would be quite intriguing for a lot of reasons.
It would. I mean, that would be one of the top games, I think, as far as our viewing area would be, just with those 2 teams and as evenly matched as they are.
Yep. Let's hop over to 4A and look at regions 3 and 4. Region 4, you've got 3 teams that have already locked up playoff spots. Upperman, Macon County, Stone Memorial. They're going to fight for that region title over these next 2 weeks. That's really kind of the flashpoint in this area as far as who's going to finish where. That Upperman Stone Memorial game is going to say a lot.
It is. Also, don't want to leave out DeKalb County. DeKalb County has to beat White County to make the playoffs Friday night. So, huge game coming up for the Tigers. Macon County is kind of sitting in the back seat this week. I was telling my dad on the way home this afternoon, they are huge Stone Memorial Panther fans this week. If Stone can beat Upperman and Macon is able to beat Stone next week, 3-way tie for first in this region, and there you go to tiebreakers.
Yep. Well, you got to add that Macon would have to win against Watertown this week to make that happen, because that's the exact same situation they were in last year. They went to Smith County Week 10 and lost, and that cost them the region title because of it. So they have to make sure that they take care of business on the road at Watertown this week. So that's the thing with those 3-way ties. The non-region games come into play, even though sometimes you don't think they will.
And I like 4-4A in just about every one of these matchups coming out of this. I think I really like Upperman, and I think Stone will match up well with Red Bank.
Regions 5 and 6. They talk about that Pearl Cone Marshall County matchup next week for first, and then behind them, it's about Station Camp, White House, and still some other teams in contention. But really, the Bison have the driver's seat there.
Anybody that I know from West Tennessee may not like me for this, but my prediction here is Region 5-4A wins 3 out of those 4 matchups. Simple as that. I think the talent's better. I think Pearl, Marshall, whoever gets Hardin County, that's a tough matchup. That Hardin County team's got a really good quarterback in Carter Smith. They got a lot of weapons. Going to Hardin County is not easy. Great tailgate out there, by the way. Massive tailgate. But I think Pearl rolls through, guys. I don't. Marshall County, I think, is their biggest challenge, but I just really like this Pearl team.
Yeah, they're going to definitely want to win next week and make sure that any sort of rematch would be on their home turf too.
Yeah, and it's a tough matchup for Marshall County for sure. They're a passing team, got a really good quarterback in Silas Teat. The problem is Pearl Cone's strengths is the secondary and their athletes, and that's basically best on best there. And Pearl's got a whole lot more of them. They're the heavy favorites to win that region and to ultimately get out of this quadrant as well.
All right, let's pause real quick and go ahead and take care of some business for our Miracle Auto Group players of the week before we dive back into these brackets. 5 finalists from last week. And Caleb Beasley from Lipscomb Academy had himself a big night. And he had three catches, 45 yards and a touchdown, 2 interceptions, and returned a blocked field goal for a touchdown as Lipscomb Academy got a big win at Knoxville Catholic, 33-10. Javin Drulo, Nashville Christian, 10 catches, 221 yards, and 2 touchdowns, even though Nashville Christian fell at Fayetteville 49-37. Trousdale County's Cole Gregory, 12 of 16 passing, 190 yards and 2 touchdowns, 23 carries, 197 yards and 2 touchdowns, had an interception and 12 tackles in that big win at Monterey. Riverdale's Brock Montgomery, 8 catches, 171 yards, 2 touchdowns. They beat Blackman 55-28. Watertown freshman quarterback Blake Waldorf, 18 of 21 passing, 291 yards, 4 touchdowns. They beat Grundy County 48-6. All right. The fans voted for Brock Montgomery, 69% of them to be exact. So nice turnout for them. Scott, you're going with Cole Gregory.
Yeah, I mean, when you contribute in all phases of the game with that kind of success, I mean, you are effectively, carrying the team. I think that, that puts you player of the week, especially in a game that you had to have.
Joe went with Caleb Beasley.
Yeah, you look at what Beasley did. I mean, this is a Lipscomb Academy team that's been struggling. He put them on his back on the road at Knox Catholic, who I believe is coming off a big win over Brentwood Academy. And I mean, come on, man. Doing it in his future hometown of Knoxville, where he's going to do that for the Vols here in a couple of years. Cam, know you like that, but Caleb just balled out last week in every phase. I mean, special teams, defense, and offense. He did it all.
We knew Cam was going to pick Cole Gregory.
Yeah, you didn't even ask me who I was picking this week, so
didn't have to.
Yeah.
No,
I mean, the kid's coming off of, he was questionable on if he was going to play or not with a double sprain in his non-throwing hand. And he comes out and has a performance like that it wasn't a must win, but it's definitely a crucial game for the Yellow Jackets, especially if they do get in the playoffs for playoff seeding purposes. And as Scott would say, Scott loves the guys that do everything. Cole may not kick the extra points, but he's the quarterback, he's a linebacker, and he's the one that snaps the ball. He's the long snapper. So he snaps the ball on the extra point. So he had a factor in every point last Friday night. 12 tackles on defense, an interception to keep the game 7-0 at the end of the first half. Just a great performance by Cole.
Linemen are my guys.
I'm going to play the villain 2 weeks in a row. I'm going to go against the fans' vote. I'm going Cole Gregory as well. He did the work of 3 guys. I mean, you had quarterback, running back numbers, you had linebacker numbers, and like Cam said, snaps on special teams. when you do all of that in a game that realistically you needed to win, that's special. And no offense to Brock Montgomery at all, because that young man has had a fantastic season, and he may be up for some more hardware than just this one. But I got to give it to Cole Gregory, and he's our player of the week, presented by Miracle Auto Group. Trout still kind of getting some more hardware like they actually need it. But, we'll send Cam up there to.
You can go home now, Cam, after you had to apologize last week.
Yeah, now you can.
Well, I haven't apologized yet.
Oh, Scott giving it away.
Spoilers.
Like nobody knew that was coming.
This is true too. It's that time of night, folks. We'll just go ahead and call it now. But we're not done yet. Got a little more business to take care of for our Line of the Week award. And the 4 up this week with Middle Tennessee Christian's offense, who had 431 yards of total offense, 428 on the ground as they beat the Kings Academy 47-7. Riverdale's offense had 502 yards of total offense, 323 passing, 179 rushing. Then that win over Blackman. Station Camp's offense had 497 total offense, 438 on the ground when they beat Creekwood 43-9. And then Trousdale County's defense held Monterey to 113 total yards, 90 passing, 90 rushing, 23 passing, 3 first downs, forced 2 fumbles, and recovered 1 in that shutout win last week. And the fans are going to give it to Riverdale's offense this week, and maybe some consolation for Brock not winning Player of the Week, but they're going to get some love as well. So, congratulations to Riverdale's offense. We've got a little presentation to make here very, very soon as I can get back down to Murfreesboro, which may be next week, but we will figure all that stuff out. Yeah, well, we have schedules, So congratulations to to Cole Gregory and the Riverdale offense for winning our Miracle Auto Group Players of the Week award. And now let's hear from those fine sponsors.
Hi everyone, it's Jim Galvin, Miracle Ford. Great news, beginning now. When you need service, we can come to you.
I think this program is great because as a college student who doesn't have time to go anywhere or do anything, this program really helped me just to get my car worked on. I could stay in work and continue to do my job. It's convenient, it's super quick, not expensive at all, so it's a great program. I really recommend it. Just give it a check out.
Are you ready for a miracle?
Before we dive back into the bracket discussion, we're going to go ahead and do our little dance around some apologies this week. And because I had the worst record of the 4 of us last week, I'm going to go ahead and start this off and apologize. Sparta. I admit, y'all been a tough team to figure out for me this year. With the exception of one game, you haven't scored more than 19 points all year. That's not something that gives me a lot of confidence, to be honest. And going into last week, I thought Stewart's Creek would take advantage of that. He didn't. You got it done. You needed to get it done, and you put yourself in a position to win the region this week. So, well done. Whether that means I'm going to take you guys this week or going forward or not doesn't really matter. But anyway, for a week at least, I'm sorry.
Well done.
All right, now the 3 of y'all tied last week, so I'm not.
The youngest should go.
Well, since you volunteered.
No, I'm older than Cam.
Wait a minute. Is that true?
I think barely, yeah.
Yeah, I'm 29.
Yeah.
All right. Then that settles it.
Scott already kind of spoiled this one for you guys, but picked the Yellow Jackets last week against week 4 last against East Robertson, and that one come back to bite me. And I thought about it, and with Cole Gregory's injury and uncertain if he was going to play, just really a game with two inconsistent teams. But you did the same thing you did last year. You did the same thing. You come out in a pretty much a must-win to make the playoffs and keep that streak alive. And they can get on to him if they want to. You kicked ass is what you did. You played Charles County football. You come out there and you handled your business the way you're supposed to. And for that, I apologize for not trusting in you guys and believing that you could go on the road to Monterey and win that game. Super proud of you guys, but the job's not finished. You have Westmoreland next week. Keep the streak alive.
Is that an apology or a pep talk?
So much homerism there, man.
Yeah,
A little bit of both.
yeah,
honestly.
no, yeah.
Kind of-
I think
kind of
that kind of moved away from an apology into a
to a pep talk.
I was
You
like,
got a
I'm
combo there.
confused.
Well,
I'll go next.
Joe, since you brought it up, you're next up in line.
Okay. Yeah. So first off, Laverne, sorry, didn't pick you. Here's the thing, though. Don't, like we said earlier in the year, don't ask for apologies. Had a few of those, but you guys deserve one. You beat a Green Hill team that none of us picked you to beat. You played really well. Your best performance of the season, bar none. The offense really kicked it into gear. Yeah, you guys looked really good. I hope you guys keep it going forward this week. Carry that momentum into the final couple weeks of the season where you have a couple of must-win games if you have some postseason aspirations. So, to the Wolverines, just know that I'm sorry.
That leaves you, Scott.
Ground control to Major Doofus. Ground control to Major Jerk. Rockville, we had a problem. I didn't pick you. I just didn't see that fire from you in previous weeks, and for that, I'm sorry. You really took off. You really streaked across the sky like the rockets that you are. And because I could hear it in my head. What are you doing, Scott? What are you doing, Scott? Well, I'm doing wrong, and I apologize.
The amount of rocket puns there hurt me so much.
And I thought we were having the national anthem for a second with all that rocket talk.
What are you doing, Scott?
What are you doing, Hal? Hal, what are you doing?
Michigan controlled it.
Yeah, I'm sorry. And the bad thing is that, I'm just old enough that nobody got all those sub references.
No, I got it.
I
It
got
just
enough of
it
them.
just hurt me.
Hey, look. If I want to make an apology, I'm going to make an apology, Dean.
Oh yeah, fair enough. And you make the best
it's not
of
gonna
them.
blow up in your face. No.
You make
No,
the best
not
of
at all.
No.
That's one I missed, Chris. Thanks.
You're welcome. Here all week. Now that we've got that out of the way, let's get back to some bracket talk, shall we?
Please.
Let's go in. He's begging me to do it now. Let's go back at Class 5A and Regions 5 and 6, where we start with that big region showdown between Centennial and Page for first place in Region 6. Centennial's math is simple. Win and you got it. But if Page wins, things could get a little messy next week.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun, isn't it? I mean, to me, this is the most exciting region, just because you have what Page has. You just kind of look at what Page has. I mean, who closes out the season with the harder stretch? I mean, you get Centennial this week, Nolensville next week. Your biggest rival, one of your biggest rivals, sorry, Fairview, they didn't play you this year. Your biggest region rival next week. They've had a lot of history these last couple of years. Oh, and then not only that, once you make the playoffs, you should beat Columbia or Lawrence County, sure. Tullahoma and Shelbyville are really good this year. They're really bounced back. So It's a lot. This is going to be a lot of fun. I'm really excited
Yeah.
to see how these next couple weeks play out.
Yeah, Cam, I wanted you to let you finish. You're looking at the screen kind of funny. I know why. Centennial's 8-0, not 9-0. Or
That's not the only reason why.
7-1. That was the typo on my part. They're 8-1.
Page is 8-1.
Page is 8-1. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. They're 8-1 and they're undefeated in the region as well, I believe.
Yeah, that's
They
all
only lost to
off.
Independence in like quadruple overtime.
I'm gonna pull that up.
Yeah. So, so with that being the case, they would only have one loss.
Yes.
Centennial is
all
8-1.
All three of them are 7-1. That's I don't know why 6-5-8. So
If the way that it would play out in that scenario, if I'm not mistaken, Centennial, Page, Nolensville. If Page beats Centennial and Nolensville beats Page, it's a 3-way tie for first, and they all have 8-2 records.
here's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna share my screen and give you the right ones because that I owe y'all that much. We're just gonna zoom right in here, just to have the right numbers up there. So Centennial, Page, and Nolensville all 7-1. Centennial, Page 3-0 in the region. Nolensville's got a 1 region loss, but we could all wind up with 4-1 region marks and 8-2 region records.
Yep. And then that would go.
Lost
You
six.
said the next tiebreaker would go to games against 500 opponents.
It's games against teams who have won 50% or more of their games. And
Wow.
that's, that we start diving into the weeds about several teams around 500 or maybe a game below that need to win to get there to move the numbers for them. That's getting messy, folks. If it gets to that tiebreaker, you're scoreboard watching a lot of games on Friday night in
The
that
most
scenario.
exciting region, easily.
Yeah.
It's definitely close between this one and I think it's 5-6-8 Mount Juliet region.
Yeah, that one too.
Yep.
But if Mount Juliet takes care of business this week, it's
still a cluster on who gets in.
Mm-hmm.
well, yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, let's see if my graphics are any better in region 7 and 8.
There we go.
Oh, they look good there.
Region 7, it's Henry County and Hendersonville who will play for first place next week. Each can factor in
They
as far
will
as
play. They'll play for first unless Henry County wins. If Henry County wins, Beach gets the 2.
yes. Yeah. Beach can factor into second, but they can't win the region. So Springfield's locked up. Beach has not technically clinched yet. They've got to beat Hunter's Lane this week to do that. No, we think that's a formality, but
It's
we still have
football. Anything can happen.
we still have to do the math on that, and
Yep.
we can only deal in absolutes. So no asterisk by their name yet, but we expect to put them in there next week. Springfield's the 4 in all likelihood.
I'm liking 3 wins for this region. What about you guys?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But going to Memphis is always tough. I think somebody could go to Memphis and struggle. Munford's not a bad team. Neither is Southwind. So I think getting one of those top 2 spots is pivotal, I think, at this point. And I'd give the nod to Beach.
Yeah, I would too. I think
Cola,
you're
by the
right.
way. Had somebody ask about what I'm drinking. It's Coca-Cola.
Icy orange.
That's the good Coke in those bottles.
Yeah. I agree, Joe. I don't think I don't know of any other region where I think that it is so important to finish in one of those top 2 spots than it is in Region 7-5A. I think that that is a long trip.
Yeah.
Now it's doable, but it's just it does take a toll. And if you play a good team when you're not at your best, it's a long trip back.
Yeah, the potential Henry County Beach rematch definitely enticing for us.
I'm rooting for that, to be honest with you. Will I be there? Probably not. But
You don't want to go to Paris?
It would be in Paris.
I want to go to the
That's
Paris
not a
in
bad-
Europe.
Scott,
They
you
got
been
an
to
Eiffel.
this.
Yeah, they've got an Eiffel Tower there.
Yeah.
And trust me, Joe, Paris is overrated. France is overrated. But yeah, it's a really nice facility.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did it on my. Yeah, it was an 8-hour drive from South Bend straight to Paris. The weekend after Thanksgiving.
God, no.
Or no, yeah, the weekend after Thanksgiving. It was Black Friday last year, right?
Yeah, it
Yeah.
was.
Yeah, it was. It's a nice facility. Very friendly people, good atmosphere. Makes it very, very difficult to play there, though.
Yeah.
All right, let's look at 6A, starting with regions 3 and 4, and we're all focused on that Oakland Riverdale game next week for that region title. Rockville, Blackman, and Siegel still got to duke it out for 3 and 4.
Yeah, that's tough. I think Rockville's starting to peak though at a really good time though. I mean, they beat up on Pope last week, and I mean, I think everyone but Cam picked that one or picked wrong in that one. So Blackman offensively, they're putting stuff. I mean, that Rockville Blackman game this week is huge. But yeah, everyone's looking forward to Oakland Riverdale game next week. Let's be honest.
I mean,
Yeah, and then in Region 4, I believe right now as it's currently sits, I believe
Mount Juliet's
Lebanon would be the 3, and
No, they would not.
Cookville would be the 4. Would they
No,
not?
they would not. I'm going to pull those up here real quick. Gallatin currently 3 on a tiebreaker
Mhm.
with, Green Hill actually has 3 region wins as well.
Right.
Again, we're going to go back to the TWSAA screen because apparently in all of my work this week, some things got changed. Here we go.
You were doing a lot, Chris.
Quite a bit. Green Hill's got 3 region wins. Gallatin's got 3. Lebanon's got 3. Green Hill owns the tiebreaker at this point just because of overall wins. And then you go back to head-to-head between Gallatin and Lebanon. They haven't played yet, so it has to go beyond those tiebreakers.
Right. It's something to keep in mind for those Gallatin fans, and if we have any Cookville viewers. Cookville has to win one of those last 2, and Gallatin lose to Lebanon, and Cookville's in.
There are a lot of possibilities in this
Yeah.
region. Just know that. And it hinges on this week's game between Green Hill and Cookville.
The only lock out of this region right now at the moment, Mount Juliet will play at home in week 1.
Yep. That's it. And
Yeah, this is string theory. I mean, it is chaos theory at its finest.
yeah, if Cookville beats Green Hill this week, Mount Juliet does clinch the region title.
Yep.
Yeah. That is in stone. So you can look at that one all you want to, and until your eyes hurt. Regions 5 and 6. No, there's still plenty of madness there in Region 5 beyond Smyrna and Antioch. The winner of Smyrna Antioch is going to be region champion. Stewart's Creek, Cane Ridge, Laverne, McGavick can all get in, and they can all be left out.
How about that go from 0-10 to a chance to win the region title in a year? That's amazing.
Devin Arnold.
I tell you,
Mm-hmm.
that's going to be a great game. Glad I'm going to be there.
Yeah.
And I predict the final score will be 15-14.
We'll talk about it in a bit. But yeah. In Region 6A, the 25th overall meeting in the Battle of the Woods is going to be for the region title, guys. That's kind of a fun little.
Insane.
Oh, guess what? They're both 12-12 against each other.
Yeah, and we also just learned that My TV 30 picked up that game for next week as well. That will be on next Friday night.
Yeah.
So they chose the Battle of the Woods over Oakland Riverdale, right?
It did, yes.
Yep.
So, yeah, well, probably having Oakland last week probably helped with that decision.
Yeah, I would say it did.
Well, and Ravenwood's got a big test this week as they play Oakland, and you want to get out of that game healthy, but you also,
Want to have a good showing.
Brentwood
has Independence.
They have to beat Independence.
Yes.
Yeah.
And Brentwood Independence, the last 3 games have been decided by 1 score or less. So they can't overlook that at all. And again, that's one of our 10 we'll talk about shortly. But yeah, this is some interesting pairings in that first round if these were to hold. A Summit Smyrna first round game or even a Summit Antioch first round game would be very intriguing.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, you could argue a sweep for Region 6, in my opinion, but at the same time, the way Antioch has played in their region games and against the tough schedule that Devin Arnold put together for that team to get them prepared for the playoffs, and then the way Smyrna's been playing defense, it's hard to argue a Smyrna Brentwood game in round 2 could be very defensive.
Anything can happen, boys.
Well, if we're going to get into it later, but if Reggie has taught us anything, it's that anything can happen when it's on the field.
Why you got?
So he picked Independence.
If Reggie has taught us anything, we haven't learned it.
I don't like.
This is true.
That's the moral of the story. I mean,
Don't
you
like
see some of the records.
I love him. Damn cat. Ask.
He's a good kitty cat.
Ask Chris. I was beefing with your cat last week without him even knowing.
He was punching the air.
He is he never does this. He is behind me on the back of the recliner. And he never does this. He's watching the show.
He senses my presence.
Let's
He's
see.
like a mess with that guy.
Facebook question from Kent Driscoll. Gentlemen, do you know if Page of Noliver is going to be streamed next Thursday? I think I can answer that here in just a moment.
Worst case, it will be on NFHS.
That's exactly, yeah. And I can probably confirm that here shortly. While I do that, we're going to go ahead and take a look at Region 7 and 8 because, first and second cut and dried. Third and fourth, not so much.
Yeah, this one's tough, and Clarksville's played really, really good this year, and I think they could host a Collierville and Bartlett and beat them potentially. Region 8 6A out in Memphis is tough, though. I could see, and I hope Clarksville people don't get mad at me for this. They will. I'm fine with it. I could see a Region 8 sweep here. All of those teams are really good.
You guys know how I felt about Germantown. They were my pick coming out of 6A on this side of the bracket going in. I still think that they are the class of this region. But to tell you the truth, we'll know more about Clarksville after this week.
Yeah,
and I'm interested to see, just how good that team can be. But yeah, Joe, I think Clarksville is probably the one team that can make it out. Other than that, I see that the Memphis schools they're playing just incredible ball right now.
Yeah,
Collierville in third is.
Well, I think somebody said it earlier in the year. Memphis has really caught up. They had a couple down years because of COVID. But I really think that they've caught up, and that Germantown team,
Cordero Walker, my friends,
they're going to be a handful for anybody in a potential semifinal between them and Brentwood, or them and Ravenwood, or them and even a defense like Smyrna has. Could be a great matchup in the semifinals. But yeah, Clarksville's been steamrolling. This week is the week that I honestly think that they may get a little bit of a challenge, especially with that Rossview defense.
I think week 1 of the playoffs is when we'll really know what this team's about.
Yep.
It's as simple as that. No disrespect to Rossview. Rossview doesn't have the offense that any of these teams in Region 8 have. They can all put up points.
And in this current playoff matchup against Bartlett's head coach was at Haywood.
Yep.
So you telling me that guy don't know what it means to make a deep playoff run?
Yeah.
Chris Smith's one of the best in the state, guys. Easily.
Yep. I want to double back to Kent's question about Page Nolensville being streamed next Thursday. Can't confirm it on FHS. I would suspect that one of the schools will stream it live on a YouTube channel somewhere. Find out more for you. But,
that may be on Williamson County Schools.
That's probably where I would go. Yeah.
They do a game of the week on YouTube,
and would likely be that one on Thursday night because you've got that one, and then you got Brentwood, Ravenwood Friday and 6A, so that works out well for them.
Or hey, follow along. We might be there. Who knows?
Very possible. Very possible. We'll know more Saturday morning. So stay tuned for that. All right, let's hit up Division 2. Let's hit up Division 2. Still a lot to be determined here as far as the East and the Middle regions, because Friendship Christian, currently sitting third, has not played Providence Christian yet. They'll do that this week.
What kind of matchup is that? Friendship versus Nashville Christian in the first round?
And then
Not
Jackson
not
Christian in the second round?
That's what it's currently sitting at, but I'll go ahead and tell you that is not likely, because
Okay, I was about to say.
that is also contingent on Providence Christian beating Friendship Christian, which it's even happening.
Right.
MTCS just sitting on the other side.
So
of the
Friendship
bracket,
would
chilling.
swap with who?
Friendship would swap with Providence. And
Providence.
Providence
Okay.
gets Nashville Christian.
Yep.
But Providence is going to be 3 in that case, and more likely that's where.
So more than likely a Nashville Christian, Jackson Christian second round,
Oof.
and a Friendship DCA second round,
Points.
and a Monte Baldwin versus Eli Wilson matchup potentially on the left side of the bracket.
in the semifinals.
Wow.
Could be some fun stuff over here in single A. There's been a lot of shakeup this year, and
Yeah.
these are going to be interesting playoffs to follow, because there's so many teams that realistically can do damage in this bracket. Double A seems a little bit more tame at this point compared to single A, but middle region's all we're really concerned with here. FRA and CPA for first. Davidson Academy can still play spoiler, but they need to win. They need to win out, and they need FRA to lose out in order to win that region. So they're more than likely going to be the number 3 team.
Davidson Academy avoids CPA and FRA the way this breaks up.
That's the main
Wow.
takeaway here. The number 3 seed gets away from those 2 in the playoff bracket.
Coach Quinn is definitely liking what he sees here.
Well, and
He
what
is,
what if
but
Davidson beats CPA week 11? Wouldn't they be on the other side then?
Potentially.
And if CPA beats FRA, and
Yep.
oh boy,
Yep.
Yeah.
and then you're looking at a potential FRA CPA Blue Cross Bowl.
Which is what we want, people. That's what we want.
or
Can't say the
Davidson.
quiet part out loud.
Or Davidson. We just need 2 teams from the 615.
You guys, you
Oh, yeah.
guys, this is like the Marvel universe. It's like, what if? We're dealing with a multiverse here.
Yeah, I doubt we have any wrestling fans, but I feel like Batista. Give me what I want.
Be like LA Knight. Let me talk to you.
Yeah.
And these are probably going to be looking different a week from tonight. So, take all of this with a grain of salt for the moment. But this
CPA playing FRA before the state title game, or Davidson play. Those 3 teams playing
Feels
each
wrong.
other before.
feels wrong.
It doesn't feel right. I don't like it.
But then again, you've got Boyd Buchanan and Knoxville Webb. They got to play each other in the East, and one of those 2 teams is probably going to make some noise in the postseason as well.
That Knox Webb team's very, very good too.
And Boyd Buchanan just has the greatest coach in Tennessee high school football history. So
Yeah.
Just that little minor detail. It's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, this bracket is different from last year in that we're taking 16 teams. There are no buys in the first round anymore in T2 AA. It's 6 from the East, 6 in the middle, and 4 from the West. So most of the teams are getting in, but somebody is getting left out. In the middle region, it's going to be one of BGA or Webb School. They'll play each other for that last spot. On the AAA side, with only 11 teams, we've got a little bit of an interesting setup here as well.
Macaulay Baylor on opposite sides.
Yeah.
yep.
It would
The whole city of Chattanooga will be at Finley Stadium.
Yeah.
So let me ask you guys something right
Yep.
now.
Mhm.
It's safe to say that outside of Innsworth, D2 AAA in the Nashville area this year has not been good. It's been kind of a
They've-
disappointment.
Not performed, correct.
Underperformed. Yeah.
If one of those teams from here was to pull spoiler and prevent that all Chattanooga matchup from happening, who do you think it would be?
Lipscomb. Defense wins championships, and they have some
What about
really talented guys on the defense side of the ball.
As does Innsworth. But Lipscomb's been there and done that. That's why I would say Lipscomb. I mean,
Yeah.
granted, it was D2 AA, but
When you think Edwin, when you think Chris Thompson, when you think Caleb, when you think Chauncey Gooden, when you think Dylan Warlick, I mean, it's just they're extremely talented. Extremely talented.
I mean-
Can they find the offense is the question.
If the thing is, if let's just say Chattanooga, goes, and blows each other up, and the one team that has the offensive capability and a solid defense is Lipscomb. Brentwood can put points on the board all day long, but they
Can't stop anyone.
They can't stop anybody. NBA is the exact opposite. Although their offense is catching up. I mean, I almost would have answered NBA with that to your question, just because of the way they've been playing lately.
Yeah.
But I think that Lipscomb Academy, followed by Innsworth, would be the two that I think that would be most likely to play spoiler in that scenario.
I want to double back on something I said earlier. A little bit of an error on my part. Back in D2 single A, the comment about that is correct. Friendship actually has beaten Providence Christian. They've got to play Ezel Harding, and Ezel Harding also has to play in TCS. So Ezel Harding could blow the whole thing up if they wanted to, and found enough offense to do so. But
they want to.
Yeah. It's on you, Corey Stewart.
They certainly do. But wanted to clear that up just a little bit because I made a bit of a boo-boo on that one. So I'm sorry about that.
Good catch.
Yeah. Speaking of good catches, we caught a good sponsor in Miracle Auto Group. We need to hear from them right now.
Hi, everyone. It's Jim Galvin, Miracle Ford, your Ford dealer in Gallatin, Tennessee since 1980. Great news beginning now. When you need service, we can come to you.
Our mobile service van comes to you wherever you are. Whether you need oil change, lube, routine maintenance, warranty, filters, wiper blades, batteries, bulbs, recalls, and more.
Visit our website
or call us now.
Are you ready for a miracle?
All right, we're going to go fast with who you got this week because we're running a little bit long, so let's go. All right, I didn't have the greatest week last week in these top 10 picks. Everybody else had 7 or 8 wins, but we move on. Still really close. I said it's rapid fire tonight, boys. We're not wasting time on this. So, y'all beat me. I'm giving y'all props for that. So just take it and go on.
Right.
I just want to shout all 4 of us out. We get a lot of slack for our picks. All 4 of us are currently with a better hit percentage than what I won with last year. So
that's improvement. We like that. So props to Cam for pointing that out. Let's go with these picks.
Batting better than the Braves in the NLDS.
Oh,
ouch.
Shots fired.
Sorry, Cam.
Damn. Man goes out of his way. Man goes out of his way to give you props, and you do that to him.
I had to. I'm sorry.
Wow.
I said we were going to go fast.
As long as I get a fellow chant at the end of the show, we'll be fine.
I got you.
Fair. Okay. All right. Shake hands. Let's move on. The recap screen. There's some red. There's quite a bit of red, enough to make me mad at least. But
that's a lot of red.
Fans got a told you so because they snuck in Trousdale County on us there at the end. And Reggie went 6-4 last week, so not bad.
Reggie had told you so, right?
He did not. He did not. I went back and double checked it. He did not.
He would have had Mount Juliet, but the comeback.
Blackman at Rockville. Let's go. The fans are going with Blackman, and the rest of us are on the Rockets. Who wants to take it?
Give me Rockville coming off a big old win over Pope. I think they got some momentum. Momentum's key for a game like this, but is this the Rockville we're going to get against Pope or the one that we've seen a couple times this year? I think it's the one we've seen against Pope. So give me Rockville.
Anybody else? Anything else?
Scored 30 points the last 2 weeks. If they score 30, they win.
Scott?
Yeah, their defense is playing better, and I like their running game to keep the Blaze off the field.
I forget which one is the good one, Jekyll or Hyde, but whatever it is, I think it shows up because they need this win more than anything else. So I'll take the Rockets this week, but I don't feel great about it. Brentwood Academy, Lipscomb Academy. It's a Lipscomb Academy sweep across the board. We think, like Cam said, that defense is going to travel and come back home and play well too. Lipscomb Academy can clinch a home playoff game with a win too in this game.
Yeah, last week Caleb showed that they can score enough on defense to win. So
One team
don't think that happens this week, but ultimately, I think that they will do enough defensively to slow George and that offense down. And BA's been having a hard time stopping anybody. So
That was what I was going to say. That it's going to come down to who can stop who, and right now the Eagles just aren't stopping anybody.
This is a game that Lipscomb's had circled since they found out they were moving up because that defense wanted to play against George. And I think they do enough and keep him out of the end zone enough and win a high scoring game.
Wouldn't surprise me to see Caleb Beasley step in front of a pass and take it back, though.
Just wouldn't shock me. Just
Yep. Caleb can pick off his future teammate.
Oh, God.
Centennial and Page. I know some of us are looking forward to this game. The fans are taking Centennial 60% of them, in fact, and Reggie's taking Centennial too. The four of us are on Page, and I got to be honest, I don't feel great about it.
Well, I don't
Absolutely not.
If this game was at Centennial, I probably would have picked Centennial.
Yeah,
home field advantage is a big thing, and I've seen both these teams play. I think Page has more weapons they can rely on. I think with Centennial, it's not a knock on Centennial. They got a couple really good wide receivers. They got Dominic Reed. But I really like Palmer at quarterback for Page. He doesn't make mistakes, and if he does, they have the defense there to respond. I think this is a low-scoring game, but give me Page.
Yeah, so Centennial will have the best player on the field, in my opinion, in Dominic Reed. However, being at home, you said it, Joe, being at home, if this game was the other way around, I'd probably pick Centennial. But the big thing that weighed on me was line play, especially that offensive line for Page. With Ronan O'Connell back healthy, Coach Rathbone's son. They're big, they're physical, and ultimately in a tight region game like this, the better line play will win more times than not. So that's why I went with Page.
Page is playing some of their best ball right now. They're a team that can create turnovers. Centennial struggled with that. So I think the Cougars have more talent, but I can't go against Rathbone at home.
Yeah, I agree with that. It's hard to pick against Page at home, and that literally just flipped the script for me because I think this is a one-score game, a 3-point game even, and I'll take the Patriots in that one. Dixon County at West Creek. We're going for number 3 out there in Region 7-6A. Reggie's taking the Coyotes, which is a little weird because that seems like something he wouldn't do.
Yeah, he's a traitor to his kind.
It's been an up and down season for the Cougars. They're able to stop the 2-game skid with a solid win against Kenwood. They do like to stay on the ground, but West Creek they recovered from their inability to score in the first 3 weeks, and they've clawed back in it. They've got a really good player in Daniel Honeycutt. He, against Northeast, he had 3 picks, returned 1 for a TD. He's also a big part of their offense, and he's their place kicker. Yeah. Coyotes do what Coyotes do. They capitalize on opportunities, but I just don't think they get the chances this week. I think Dixon County grinds this one out.
Yeah, Dixon County benefiting greatly from finally getting out of that Williamson County region. This win would solidify a playoff spot for them, and I think the Cougars get it done.
Yeah, I think better offense here. Give me Dixon County.
The ground game for Dixon County, McCaleb Frazier and Malachi Redmond kind of share that committee in that backfield. They're leaning on those guys to run the ball effectively. They've got over 1,500 yards rushing as a team. They've got 18 touchdowns to the ground. Yeah, I like Dixon County this matchup as well. Green Hill and Cookeville. We've talked about this one. No, Cookeville can cause chaos for the win, but all of us are thinking that the Hawks will bounce back.
Yeah, disappointing loss last week. I don't think Crouch is going to let those boys just kind of sit and stew. They're going to bounce back in a big way, but I think this game could be close.
Yeah, the big thing for me in picking this one, Cookeville at home, definitely it speaks for itself. It's a long road trip from Lebanon all the way up to Cookeville, but Coach Crouch realizes, and I think he will preach to his team. Us as analysts are looking at next week's matchup with Mount Juliet as a region championship game. This is their region championship game. Yep. They have to win this one to make next week's for the region championship. It's that simple, and I think they get it done.
Yep. Yeah, I think that that Green Hill they had some issues getting the ball to Aaron Mattingly. I expect him to be a bigger part of the offense this week. They need a win to build their confidence prior to Mount Juliet. I think they put last week's game in the rearview mirror, and I think that this week they go into this. I expect this game to be closer than it would be if this were Green Hill. I think if it was Green Hill, Cookville would really be in trouble. I think it's a closer game, but I honestly think that Green Hill comes out on top.
Yeah, I think Cam nailed it. We don't have to put them on red alert for an upset because they can do that themselves. After last week, they now know what it's like to not play well and get beaten by a team that you probably should win against, and they don't want to let that happen 2 weeks in a row. So I would definitely expect Green Hill to bounce back and play much better than last week and get themselves in a position to play for region title next week. Indy at Brentwood. Reggie's going to take the Eagles. Joe doesn't like it. We're all on the road here. This game has been really close the last 3 years. They're all been by one score, and Indy won one of those a couple of years ago. So Brentwood knows what's at stake here. I don't expect that there's no overlooking anybody between these two teams.
Yeah, the emergence of Gavin Nelson is the difference maker to me. Early on, Baylor Hayes in the passing game for the Bruins kind of led the way on offense, but what he's been able to do at running back for the Bruins has made them more balanced, made them kind of plays to their strength. They have a really good offensive and defensive line and a good secondary, as Johnny Silvestri had 4 turnovers a couple weeks ago. Ultimately, Brentwood has a great defense. They've been able to do enough on offense all year so far, and I think nothing changes this week.
Yeah, the consistency of Brentwood is just absurd. They're winning close games, blowouts. They're just winning. Good quarterbacks, no problem. George McIntyre, check. Mason Baker, check. Cade Marshall, check. Elisha Neves, check. Their linebackers are very, very good, as Cam said. I like Maximus Orpheus, the senior linebacker, 88 tackles. Will Adcock, 7 tackles for loss. Mason Ball. Please tell me I've got the right team.
Yeah, you're there.
Yeah, Johnny Silvestri. I don't know. Chris had a look on his face like, what script is he reading from?
No, you paused for like
7
seconds, and I was like, did we lose him?
Yep.
Oh, I skipped. Yeah.
Yeah.
To me,
there may have been some names we didn't hear.
Yeah. Oh, that's all right. I won't. To me, this team, the defense is what's making the difference in this team. I think that even though the Eagles really have had that switch turned on after the beach game or during, at the beach game where their offense really started clicking, I just think that Brentwood has just been so consistent. It's hard to pick against them, especially at home.
Yeah, close game like it always is between these two, but I think Brentwood pulls it out in the end with the Gavin scores late, and they head into the Battle of the Woods undefeated.
Yeah, I just got a quick question. I know he can't answer because he's a cat, but does Reggie have a second dead mouse that he's ready to give Coach Finch?
Yeah, no kid.
Oh.
I think he's got a vendetta against Brentwood. That's what it is.
It has to be that. It has to be that.
Hey, he does. He calls him as he sees them, and he doesn't kiss. Kiss up. No, if he calls it that way, that's the way he calls it.
Yeah. Indy's won 5 of the last 7 since that opening week loss to Oakland, where they lost by 20. Their 2 losses have come by 6 points and 2 points. They're going to play this game close. Just with Brentwood, they're finding ways to win, and a team that is confident like that, it's hard to pick against them. So I'm going to go with the Bruins there as well. Speaking of Ravenwood and Oakland, there they are. Unfortunately, this is a non-region game in a heavy regional week, so this kind of gets lost in the shuffle a little bit. But these two teams still need to have a good showing before big games coming up next week.
Give me the team that has offensive weapons and can score with about 8 different players on the field. I like this Ravenwood team. I think they're quietly been one of the best 6A teams in the state, but Oakland's arguably top 3 in the state. I mean, you could say they're number 1. I mean, you wouldn't get an argument out of me. I think they're right up there. They got everybody healthy. DeJuan Morris is still balling, picking up SEC offers and Big 12 offers. Ashton Jones is doing his thing. I think Oakland, they're just on one of those Oakland rolls, and I think we're just all living in their world.
Yeah, this game is kind of like two rocks beating against each other. You do it often enough, one's going to break. I think Oakland's offense, as Joe said, I think they're just too dynamic, too much Morris, really. And I think the Raptors are going to have to watch out for Craig Tutt if they are forced to pass. He's in the top 20 for sacks in the Midstate. So I just think there are too many weapons on Oakland's in Oakland's bag for them to give this one up.
Yeah, this game, both of these teams, it'd be real easy to say, they're going to look ahead the next week. They're going to look ahead the next week. Both of these coaches are not going to let that happen. But ultimately, I think Oakland has more big game experience playing big games back to back to back to back. So I like Oakland to win this one.
6-0-7-0-7-0. It's the number of points Oakland has allowed in the last 6 games.
Yeah.
Let that sink in for a minute. I do think Ravenwood does get to 20 points. It'll be only the second team to do against Oakland this year, but ultimately I think Oakland wins this game around 42-20. All right. Rossview and Clarksville.
The battle for the Warfield Shield.
We are all on the Wildcats for this one. 73.3% of the fans are as well. Scott, I think you were well prepared to talk about this one, so why don't you have at it?
Yeah, I mean, Clarksville's been a terror in Montgomery County. They're averaging 48 points per game. Defensively, they allow just a little over 6. Most of the competition in the area is not the same as other areas, but all you can do is, when you're put in that position, is beat the ones you're supposed to beat in the manner you're expected to, and they have. The offensive line led by seniors Devin Trahan and Will Zielinski. They opened the door for a lot of ball carriers, but James Dalrymple has to be the hog there. He's a wingback, great vision, quick burst. He catches the ball well. But I tell you, if there's a team to challenge the Wildcats, it's Rossview. They don't get a whole lot better out there defensively. This game's on a 6-game winning streak since they opened up 0-2. They're a win away from the best record since 2014. And in those games, they pitched 5 shutouts. They only gave up, it would have been 6, but they gave up 6 points to Dixon County. They swarm as the defense. Hezekiah Scott leads the team in tackles. They've got a good running back in DJ Young. But if Clarksville shuts that down, their quarterback can actually throw the ball. He's just short of 1,000 yards. It's hard to tell how good these teams are. We're going to learn a lot about them in this week. If Clarksville wins in a strong fashion, we're going to know they're one of the elite teams in Midstate. If Rossview pulls the upset or even keeps it close, we'll know that Rossview's defense is for real, and we might learn a little bit more about just how good the Wildcats are.
Yeah, I think Coach Shelby's had this game circled for a few weeks now. And yeah, they can't control who they've played up to this point, but they, as we've said, they've won in dominating fashion. They've took care of business, not had any hiccups. That to me, it's good and it's bad. It's good because Coach Shelby can look at this matchup and circle Rossview a couple weeks ago, honestly, probably, and go ahead and start getting his guys mentally prepared for this game, win a region title with a win. Huge game for the Wildcats as they want to host in the first round of the playoff. As we looked at the pairings earlier, it's going to be a tough road regardless in the playoffs, but it's a whole lot easier playing at home. We all know that.
Clarksville by 2 to 3 touchdowns. They're the better team. They've beaten everybody they should beat. Rossview's had a few ups and downs this year. I know defensively they picked it up, but I just think Clarksville's a different beast up there. Simple as that.
I think Clarksville gets held to its lowest total of the season this week.
28.
That would be the lowest total by 10.
Yeah,
because they scored 38 against Dixon County. I think they stay in the high 20s, but
28-7.
I'm for that. Rossview will hold them down a little bit for a while, but I don't know that Rossview can score enough to stay with them. All right, Smyrna and Antioch. One of our 2 really big region title games this week, and Reggie says he's back in the Bears.
Well, that makes
of course he is. He's not going to pick the Bulldogs.
This is true.
So I mean, these 2 teams have played each other every year since 2017. Smyrna is undefeated. They've won by an average of 43-4. They had a couple blowout wins there early in the last couple of years, or the first couple of years. They're better. Antioch's better than those teams, though. I just think what Smyrna's done, I'll tell you right now, I texted Chris yesterday and told him to change my pick. And it goes back to what we said about Gordonsville RBS a couple weeks ago. Give me the team that's been there and done that in these situations. Antioch's not there yet. They will be. They're just not there yet. I'll take the team who's been dominant on defense lately, has picked up a really big win last week against Stewart's Creek. If this game's under 20, it's Smyrna. Smyrna for the win.
Yeah, I think Antioch's young and dynamic, but they've had games where they've struggled defensively. Now, of course, their losses have come against the likes of Oakland, Lebanon, Nolensville, Mount Juliet, and CPA.
Yeah.
But Joe, to what you were saying, I think Smyrna is peaking at the right time. Their offense is seeming to gain a little confidence, playing much better. Their defense has always kept them in games, and Cam always says that defense wins championships. And I believe that they've got the better defense. So just give me the Bulldogs on that.
Yeah, same. Antioch's been able to score 14 points the last 2 weeks in each of their matchups. Ultimately, I think that Smyrna's defense is comparable to CPA. They're probably, pretty comparable with Mount Juliet as well. So nothing gets easier for that Antioch offense. And as I said earlier, 15-14 could definitely happen in this football game. And ultimately, if it's in that score range, Smyrna has been there a whole lot more than Antioch this year as far as low scoring knockdown dragouts, and Smyrna probably has the better defense, so I went with the Bulldogs.
Joe, you talked about changing your pick last minute. I changed mine to 5:30 today, and
I had Antioch, and I had a bad feeling.
Well, I don't have a bad feeling because I'm putting Smyrna on major red flag alert. I think they'll win, but I think they're going to have to really fight like heck for it. The thing that works in Antioch's favor, they haven't played a region game in 3 weeks. They could have prepared for this game for the last 3 weeks while still playing CPA and Mount Juliet. Smyrna's had to play region games. They can't even think about this game until now. So
I think that works to Smyrna's favor. No.
Yeah, lost the first 4 and won the last 4.
I don't think so.
I think that's all they're thinking
from
about.
a confidence standpoint, it does play a factor for sure.
From a confidence standpoint, yeah, but you've had 3 weeks to prepare for Smyrna. Smyrna's had 1 week to prepare for you.
Yeah, but Smyrna knows that every week they had to win at this point, and they're not going to get caught looking ahead. I get what you're saying. I just give me the team that's won this region just a couple of years ago over the one that hasn't won a region title since 2013.
Yeah, I'm picking Smyrna, but I don't feel great about it because there's a ceiling that they're fixing to hit because their offense can't get it done past 20 points, and they're a realistic first round out candidate for me, whether they win this game or not.
Especially against an opponent like Summit with a great rushing attack.
That's right.
I think Thomas Jones has a big game.
I think Takai, let me tell you, Smyrna's going to have to block because if they let Takai and Whitsett loose, it could be all night for Smyrna's offense.
And this is something to keep in mind, too. You saw it last week in Smyrna's game against Stewart's Creek. Smyrna has a outstanding secondary. Antioch with a freshman quarterback in a region championship game. That's something to keep an eye on there. Yeah. Smyrna turns Antioch over a couple times. Bulldogs' chances go up drastically.
Yeah, they do. But no,
Smyrna, this is a hard game to pick.
Smyrna's ceiling is approaching fast because they're going to play a lot better teams in the playoffs, and I don't like their chances beyond this. So I'm taking Smyrna, but I don't feel great about it.
I think this game was a lot easier to pick about 2 weeks ago.
Yeah. FRA and CPA, the other game that's been really hard to pick, especially, considering everything that these two teams have done this year. And I didn't change my pick here because I didn't want to be the one that goes against an 8-0 FRA team. I know CPA is a tough place to win. I know it's a hard place to do it 2 years in a row. But dang it, somebody's got to take the unbeaten team here, and it might as well be me because, listen, this backfield for FRA can absolutely get it done. Logan Kennard's a year better as a starter at quarterback. You've got Ty Clark, who's going to be a Mr. Football finalist in all in all intents and purposes. I mean, if CPA wins, I'll apologize in the field just like I always do. But
the key for FRA, the key player is going to be Bobby Council.
Yep.
Ty's going to be Ty. This CPA defense, that FRA offense is going to have to do some things to try to loosen them up. And then on the defense side of the ball against CPA, they're going to have to shut down the physical run game. This is the type of game where CPA just physically tries to wear on their opponent. They play good sound defense. They run the football for 3 or 4 yards in a cloud of dust, and they're at home. They're in their own environment, and they win a 24-21 type game. It's going to be a great football game. Kind of jealous that you get to go watch this one, Chris. But ultimately, I kind of low key think that CPA and this is the type of program that they are. They did not like when we moved FRA ahead of them.
Yep.
At all.
Can't
But did they whine and complain every week? Nope.
No.
Nope. They put that on their little list and put it in their back pocket. And if they win, you're going to hear about it after the game. I guarantee it.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine but here's the thing. I mean, all you guys are taking CPA. You're going against the unbeaten team. You don't think that doesn't motivate FRA?
Oh, it does. But here,
it does work both ways. It worked both ways, guys.
What's more motivation though? This is a CPA team that lost at home 39-38 last year to FRA for the first time in forever. FRA had never come close to beating CPA before last year, and I think Ingle Martin is way too good of a coach to let his guys just kind of sit and dwell on that. They know what this game means. FRA does too. I mean, you talk about coaching matchups. This is one of the best in the entire state for the entire season.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
It doesn't
100%.
get any better than that. Come on now. I think if this becomes a shootout like it was last year, FRA wins this game going away.
It favors FRA big time.
But CPA is only allowing 12.5 points at home this year. That includes that loss to Pearl Cone, who is one of my top 5 teams in the state, FYI. I think CPA wins a 21-20 game, something like that.
Very comparable offense from FRA to Pearl Cone earlier on in the year. And if it's in that score range, definitely favors CPA. If it gets to 28 or more, it's a heavy lean to FRA.
CPA has done everything they've been asked this year, with the exception of one game, and they've been rolling up nearly 36 points per game, 45.5 within the region. They only allowed around 10 points per game, and they have filled their non-region schedule with Brentwood Academy, Pearl Cone, NBA, Antioch. This is the reason why they have honed themselves against some of the best to play the best. And right now, I think defensively they are as good as anybody. Josh Marinick and Ross Patterson are running the ball really well. But give me new Georgia commitment, Andre Evans, Tennessee commit Jackson Matthews, who excels on defense and on offense, special teams. I think this team wants revenge for last year. To me, they've honed themselves against the best. That kind of schedule pays off down the stretch, and they're playing at home. I'll take the CPA defense to slow the Panthers down.
I will say this. I don't think this is the last time these two teams play each other this year.
Oh, no.
I hope not.
It's definitely likely that they play again. If they end up 1-2, they're going to be on the same side of the bracket. And if one of them does wind up flipping up and finishing third, they'll be on the opposite sides, and it could still very possibly happen.
And this could be like the Lipscomb CPA situation a couple of years ago, where one team won the regular season and the other team won in the playoffs. They're that close.
Yeah. Really?
Yeah. For what it's
worth,
worth, I will apologize.
You see why we're split on this?
I will apologize to Ty Clark in person if FR. I think this could go either way. I just think you look at how this game played out last year. I mean, it's tough.
I will add, FRA didn't get worse.
No, CPA also didn't get worse.
That's true.
Braden Streeter to me is the key to this game. How he plays, how he stretches the field, gets that running game open. If he can get some passes to Andre there early on and really stretch the field,
Yep,
it's gonna be tough.
Hey Reggie, who'd you pick?
Of course.
Reggie looking.
Well, he's picking a cat regardless, so that's a good
He'll
sign.
make his decision. Can you turn that down?
No, he can't. He's a cat.
My guy getting distracted so easily.
Reggie
Yes.
still hasn't
Yes.
figured out.
No.
He's looking for the treats. He's made his decision. And his decision is the Lions of CPA.
I feel better about that because the last time I said I was Reggie and the spotlight came out, I was wrong.
Yeah, that's true, but if I'm not mistaken, we need to look this up. I believe Reggie's record in picking CPA games is pretty daggum good. Last year he called CPA over Oakland. This year he called Pearl Cone over CPA. So his record of picking games that involve CPA has to be pretty good.
We'll see, but all streaks do have to come to an end sometime too.
I do like that cat. I've always said I liked him.
Wow.
Oh, wow. Oh, me.
Should I get somebody else to come with me to CPA on Friday, Joe? Because I'm gonna have to
absolutely
demote you.
Hey, it's
He
going to
said
be
no,
a,
absolutely
hey,
not.
it's going to be a 3 overtime game now that you got Joe there.
No, it's
That
not a
could
Mount Juliet
happen.
game. It's not a
You
Mount
say
Juliet
that
game.
jokingly, but it could happen.
It's not a Mount Juliet game. It doesn't count.
The beach game went to overtime.
Yeah,
Your game
Do
last
not-
week went double
not-
overtime.
Scott, don't do this to me.
You're the
I
one who
swear.
took Joe.
I'm saying quadruple, double, or nothing.
Oh wow.
And this is the game that
Right.
could do it.
Do I hear five? Do I hear five overtimes?
You
got a good
could.
auctioneer here.
As solid as these teams are, you
What a
very well
person.
could.
I believe Coach Quinn raised to 6.
Probably. Probably. Lord of mercy. This has been, well, we supersized the show tonight and y'all got pretty much all you wanted and then some. So one last word before we get out of here. Scott, I know you had something you wanted to mention tonight, so I'll let you start.
I did.
You did.
What did I did?
Remember well, I'm a
He said, "Oh no, I
oh
forgot."
he forgot.
I forgot.
You got a good update today.
Oh, yes. Oh, okay, yeah. For those who were wondering, and our videographer Annette got some good news on her leg. She's going to be able to go back to work soon. Everything seems to be doing well. So thank you all for all the prayers, all the good thoughts. Yeah, she's we're excited. The laundry might actually survive me now. So, yeah, thanks to everybody who said prayers and sent well wishes. And I'm going to butcher his name. Canaan
Musgrove.
Canaan Musgrove. Yeah.
Yeah.
Canaan. Hey, I appreciate it. Let me tell you one thing real quick. Canaan came up to me at the Friendship Christian game, and he did as a man does, and he didn't have to, and it was very much appreciated. He apologized. He didn't need to apologize. It wasn't his fault, but he sought us out. He sought me out, and apologized and asked how Annette was doing and everything. That really showed me what kind of man he is, and he's gained a fan in me. He didn't need to, he didn't have to. It was not his fault. It was something that happens. But I appreciated it. Annette appreciated it. And again, thank you all for all your prayers and well wishes.
Yeah, great week of football. We're back closer to our regular schedule this week with a bunch of games. Great games, some region championships on the line this week. But I always like to end. I won't be on the show on Saturday, so I have to do it today. I always like to end. It's Bama Hate Week, guys. Bama Hate Week. And you know I'm a huge Tennessee fan, so I have to. My last word has to go like this. It is Alabama Hate Week, and we don't give a
Beep.
about Alabama.
Yet he won't watch the game. He'll be in a wedding. Anyway, had to take a couple shots at Canada. My thing is just really appreciate all the support on all of our social medias. It's been a really fun season. Let's continue it these last 2 weeks where we've got some just massive games. Shout out to Chris, who, if you follow us on Instagram, he put out some really just awesome graphics, something we may continue doing going forward for our spotlight games and big games. A lot of traction there. We're doing a bunch of graphic stuff. Chris and we're collaborating on a lot of stuff for our Instagram, so make sure you're following that. Get us to 5,000 these next couple weeks, and really, really just appreciate all the support. And let's enjoy these last couple weeks before November hits.
If anybody wants to knock our managing editor, okay, that's the guy right there. And yeah, he did have a couple mistakes on here, but this dude right here makes this whole thing happen. So if you've got any slack to say, we'll fight you.
Important questions from Matt. Who schedules a wedding on the third Saturday of October? We mean,
a Kentucky fan, Matt.
Matt's a Kentucky fan, so
ding,
Matt's
ding,
my
ding,
guy.
ding. This one's over, and I gotta address this. I do not have to be in bed by 9:15. I have 5 a.m. video editing, Matt. Come on now. You don't be better than that. Let's not do that. All right, but in all seriousness, though, guys, what a fun show! What a fun show!
Yeah.
It might be one of the most fun we've had. And thanks to all of you guys for chiming in and keeping me honest. Honestly, sometimes the graphic gets screwed up. It happens, but I used to beat myself up for it, but I don't anymore because I'm too old for that stuff.
Yeah, we love the interactions at the end of the show too.
Yep.
So if you got a question about your game that you're not seeing yet, they will be on 615preps.com tomorrow on Thursday. But we love the interactions, and we may actually, we've mentioned it, if y'all want to provide some feedback on maybe us doing a playoff special bracket deal, we may do something like that.
Yeah, I think that might be in the works. We'll see what next week brings.
As Chris likes to say, it's a good thing about owning our own show. We hadn't fired ourselves yet.
Nope. Been 4 years, and we're still here. So something's okay at least.
Yeah.
But fun show. Let's get out of here, folks. Make sure you join us 9:00 Saturday morning for the Scoreboard Show. We'll have highlights and interviews and scores and recaps from all that good stuff, like we always do every week. And same bat time, same bat channel here next Wednesday when we get you ready for a super-sized edition of Week 11, when you've got a lot of games on both nights. So ought to be a good one. And thank you all so much for tuning in and hanging with us for 90 minutes, because this has been a fun one. So for Scott, for Joe, for Cam, I'm Chris. We're out. Go damn Vols.
Oh, wait a minute. What am I doing?